Hi, you're very welcome. And in this video, what I want to do is I want to show you how you can do a pivot table from scratch. So here I've got my nice chunky data set, and it is 149,000 rows. I know that because when I press Control and arrow down to the bottom, you can see over there I'm down at the 149,000 mark. All right. And then for me to just pop up again, if I just press Control and Home on my keyboard, that hops me back up again, just like Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz with her red ruby slippers. Okay, so I always like to, when I'm working with a data set, always convert it to a table first. And you'll see later on when I actually add on more data, you'll see why that is so handy. So I just begin by going up here to Insert. All right, and you see third from the left, it says Table. Now you can also use Control and T for this as well, and just make sure you just click on one cell anywhere in the data set, and then I just click on Table, and it prompts up here, and I'm going to say yes, my table has headers, because that's what I want to include in it. Okay. Now, once I've got this done, the table done, what I want to do, my first pivot table I want to create in this video is going to be to show total sales by store location by month. Okay, so I've got my store location here. Okay, I've got my date over here, transaction date, and then over here I got my sales. So I just basically want to create a summary of this. So I begin by going up here to table design, up here. And then I like this one, which is summarize a pivot table, over here. And I'm going to put it, when I click on summarize a pivot table, I get two options here, either a new worksheet, which is the default, or an existing worksheet. And since this is a quite big data set, I'm going to go for new worksheet, and then I click OK. Now when I do this, I get this option over here, which shows me where I'm going to actually construct it. Okay, and all pivot tables have this kind of grid format. And up here, I've got my headings from my table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin by dragging down sales, because sales is what I want to summarize, and I'm going to drag that down into values. Right. Then what I want to do is I want to drag store location, and I want that to go into rows. So anything I want to go on the left-hand side goes into rows down here. All right, so I just go down here, I click store location, it gives it there. And the last bit I want to do is I want to show it by month. So I come up here to my transaction date, and I just drag down my columns. You can see there it gives me the months straight away. So you can see my pivot table has taken shape over here. Let me just zoom it up a bit. Okay, so you can see there I've got my pivot table summarized straight away. One small thing I'm going to do before I do a quick show you what to do when you get more data is I'm going to do a right click here. And what I want to do is I basically want to change the currency. Now, as it happens, it's probably in dollars, but if I want to change the currency format, this is where I do click on one cell here, right click, and then I just go down to value field settings. And then I come down here to number format. And then on the left-hand side, I choose currency. And because I'm based in Ireland, I'm going to go with euros. But if you had another currency here, you could choose another one, of which there are many. And I click OK. And then I click OK again, and it updates them all. Okay. Now, I want to do one last thing in here, which is what happens when I get more data. How does this update? It doesn't update automatically. I need to do a thing called refresh. So I come back here into my data, go to transactions, down here. And I'm just going to add a brand new row by doing Control and arrow down to the end again. And just to bear in mind, because I've converted this into a table, you can see over here I've got like a little, I like to call it like a little border control over there on the bottom right hand side, which is like the end of it. So I'm just going to put in a new transaction ID here, 149457. Okay, and I'm going to put in a date of July / /2023. And then I'm going to just copy down the time from here to make it easy for myself. Copy down the transaction quantity. And I'm going to give, let's say, a store ID of 10. And I'm just going to give it a brand new, let's say, a store location. Okay, and I'm just going to call this, let's say, Galway. All right, and there's a method in my madness, which you'll see in a second. I'll just go here to 10. This is all kind of makey uppy. And I'm just going to go to 1. And I'm going to add it, let's say, to coffee. Oops. And I'm just going to leave it on, let's say, drip coffee. And I'm going to say product detail, just coffee again, see what it gives me. Brazilian, I might just look for Brazilian organic. There we go. Okay. Now see there, I've got my new store location. Now when I go back into my pivot table, which is over here, see there, it doesn't, my new location hasn't appeared automatically. So I need to do a right click, and down here there's an option that says refresh. Okay, so right click and refresh. There we go. There's Galway. And there's my new date as well. And the reason I could do that so easily was because I had my data formatted as a table. Right? So I hope you find this useful, and mind yourself and take care. Bye.